All right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Bismillahi wa salatu wa salam Rasulullah. Alhamdulillah, joining us today, we have, m- anytime somebody becomes a doctor, we have to call him doctor, and there's Molana. So I want to call you coach. Can we call you coach?
Okay, that's fine.
Is that okay? Do people ever call you that?
Actually, a few of my clients do, yeah.
Yeah, they call you coach?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
We're actually excited. In fact, our cameraman here is also very excited about this particular topic. We're here to talk about health and fitness. And a lot of times people don't understand that even from the Islamic perspective, right? Throughout the Quran, whenever halal is mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions tayyib, right? That you have to eat things which are halal and good. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam even said something more or less in a hadith that, the strong believer, the virtues of a strong believer better than a weak believer, right? There's khair in both of them, but part of keeping ourselves strong and keeping our bodies healthy is, really, it's actually rooted within the deen. And what I enjoyed, just to give everybody a little bit of a background, I've been trying to get into it also. And alhamdulillah, I found you down the road. And, there's a lot of things that you shared with your knowledge. But before we get into even any of that stuff, whenever I meet somebody here, I got this running joke, is that whenever I meet somebody, especially from the Indian community, right? And I say, what do you study? And before they say anything, I'm like, accounts. And they start laughing, right? But that didn't happen with you. You said, yeah.
So I actually studied computer science.
Oh, okay.
But then I worked as an accountant. Yeah. But yeah, so I actually did my 3.5 years of computer science, and as soon as I got my first job, after that, I was on a computer and I actually realized that I can't do this.
Can't do it, eh?
Like sitting in front of a computer from 8 to 5,
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. So that's when I decided to change my path and go towards fitness and training.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
subhanAllah. So did you study that in Zambia, or what was the journey like there?
The fitness?
Yeah.
I actually did the personal training in Manchester 2 years ago. And it's not even that long a course. It's not like sports science or anything like that. It took 6 months. It's to do with nutrition and different exercise types, and so calisthenics and plyo and all that.
Right.
And basically just to be able to train someone according to the goals that they have in mind. So if they want to lose weight, if they want to gain, if they want cardiovascular fitness and health, anything to do with that, or with the nutrition, basically.
So were you, like, growing up, were you someone that was always athletic? Like, what?
I did love playing sports. So
Oh, okay.
it was football, cricket. We grew up playing football on the road. I still remember from Lisa.
Right.
Lisa school.
Yeah.
From there. Till now, I still play, although my knee is not going to let me play as much anymore. But I've always been into sports. Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay. And so, this is total sidetrack from discussing fitness, and I find this really cool, is because a lot of people are scared, and I understand accounting, to be honest with you. Now that I really, it does help with the business world, and it makes sense. But I feel when I spoke to you, you kind of are, you're doing something that you're a bit more, I would say, passionate about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually love what I'm doing at the moment. So that's the reason I changed to this, because I was actually very, very skinny.
Oh, okay.
This was like not even that long ago, a few years ago. And I decided I want to put on some weight, and so I went to the gym like anyone does. And I had my trainer there, and he put me on a diet plan, and we started like going on the smaller weights initially, and then heavier weights. It took some time, 2 or 3 years, and I got really into it, training every day with my best friend.
Right.
And so that's what led me to say that, okay, if I'm not going to work as an accountant or on a computer, let me do something I love.
Right.
And that's when I decided to go to the course in Manchester.
Oh, okay, mashallah, very good. So what's the name of your gym here?
The one I have in McKinney?
Yeah.
Studio 59.
Studio 59, yeah, okay. Although, I work out there, I saw the 59, I wasn't sure the official name. So one of the cool things that I liked, which is that most people, growing up, with the influences that were there, it was all about, pumping iron, right? I'm not referencing anything in particular, but, and so I used to lift. But with that came tons of injury.
Okay.
I got a busted shoulder, my left arm, squatting, the knees.
Yeah.
So when I met you, you're calisthenics, right? Which is awesome. And so for the viewers that don't know what calisthenics are, give us an intro.
So calisthenics is basically bodyweight exercises,
Right.
but that involves a lot of functional movement. So the functional part is what's gonna help you in your day-to-day activities. You know? That's what it helps with. So your mobility, your joint movement, your strength and conditioning.
Right.
So a lot of it is to do with, say, push-ups, or
Okay.
you're gonna do your pull-ups, you're gonna do your bar dips, your
Right.
triceps, and there's a planche. There's so many more exercises to do with calisthenics and all body weight. But there is that misconception that a lot of people have to say that if it's body weight, then you're only gonna reach a certain peak.
Yeah.
How you're gonna
Yeah.
pass that? But you can add weight to it.
Okay.
The same movements, but say you get a dip belt and you add the weights to it.
Right.
And then you do your pull-ups with it.
Right.
You're gonna,
Yeah.
go to the next level basically with it. So I love it because of the functionality.
Right.
It helps you through your day-to-day. And like you said, with the conventional, traditional form of exercising, which is just going to the gym and doing hypertrophy, like bodybuilding exercises,
Yeah.
it gets you stiff and you
100%.
lose your speed, your movement, and if you're into sport, it's not the best thing to do.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting because this actually happened to me. Is I did a Muay Thai. I had friends who used to train Muay Thai, so they convinced me, and I joined some Muay Thai classes. And those were the days, probably early. I was in my early 20s, and it was all about bench press and squat and everything. And one of the first things the coach, actually the professor, I think they call it, right, in Muay Thai, but the sensei, anyways, is he just made us do these functional movements, right? Like, just flapping the arms up and down because
Yeah.
you have to mimic holding up your hands,
Yeah.
right? And we're doing this for 7 minutes, and 7 minutes.
Like, literally a lot of endurance.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you
holding
couldn't even
back.
lift. You can't even lift your arms up.
So I remember telling you I went for the 2-week Muay Thai camp.
Oh, in Morocco, yeah.
And it was basically the same. They'll give you these Tai Chi endurance-based exercises where you're holding up your hand for 5 minutes straight.
Right.
And when you're looking around at your mates on the side, you can see the hands dropping after 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It takes a lot.
Huge.
With the endurance exercises. But it's all about that. It's all about, like, can you endure the exercise, the pain? Are you flexible enough?
Yes.
And then you move on to now how hard are your kicks and how can you punch, how hard can you punch? And
Yeah, yeah.
technique, everything. Yeah.
SubhanAllah. Yeah, and so calisthenics, I mean, essentially, you don't need equipment.
No.
So you-
Nothing at all. You can do it just with your body weight, literally.
Wow.
Even if you don't have the dip belt and the weight plate, the most you'll need is a resistance band, and they go for nothing.
Right.
It's cheap. You can get it in any sports shop around here.
Yeah.
And you get the sets of resistance bands. I know you gave me your resistance
Yeah,
bands.
yeah.
So we use it to help us with pull-ups. Say you can't do a pull-up and you want to learn, it will be an assistance for your pull-up.
Right.
Say you want to do a push-up with resistance now, just put it behind your back and
Right.
do the push-up. It makes it a lot harder,
Right.
And you get different strengths and different grades of these bands. to
Right.
do it with. Yeah. But essentially all body weight.
All body weight.
All body weight. Yeah.
Wow. So that's interesting. And I mean, everybody nowadays, I think, as with the internet and, the amount of youngsters that are watching, people lift online, a lot don't realize that many people are taking PEDs, right? They're on steroids. So their expectations are unrealistic, right?
Especially if you look at I know a lot of us watch UFC.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have all the stars out there and stuff, and you can see the signs of PEDs and all that
Right.
being used
Yeah,
just by the body.
right.
Like I know some of the fighters where one pec is
Deformed.
compared
Yeah,
to the other, and you can tell straight away. Like they'll give you those excuses to say that no, it's like a lot of training and it's just natural. That's how it is. But it's a lot of performance enhancing drugs
Yeah, for sure.
involved with it, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now, having said that, for people who are doing things naturally, and I think that's most of us who are trying to do that,
Yeah.
right? PDs, I mean, is a dark road for people who don't know what they're doing, especially can lead to heart issues. A lot of it is diet. Yeah.
Yeah. So 70% of what you do is going to be your diet.
Right.
30% is the gym.
Ah.
So there's a big difference. So if you're not going to control your diet, you're basically training just for fitness.
Right.
And if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain weight, and your diet is not there, it's not like what it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
it's going to be pointless
Right.
because you have to have a good diet in place.
Right.
Yeah.
So having said that, okay, now this is where it gets super confusing. And I know this because personally, I've lifted for a long time. When I went to Darulum, you end up sitting a lot because you're reading. You don't get a chance to move as much. Now I'm trying to, undo a lot of that being stagnant. So whenever I go online, it's low carb, low carb, low carb, low carb, right?
Yeah.
And so I did it. To be honest with you, I did it twice. The two things I noticed, number one, is it's not sustainable, right? And
Especially if there's no exit plan to it. Like,
yeah,
and if they're going to tell you, so the problem I have is, and I've told you this, is low carb, okay, to an extent is fine, but no carb, that's the issue I have, where you completely cut it off.
right.
And there are a lot of
Keto,
short slim,
yeah,
a lot of them out there that basically completely remove the carb from your diet.
right,
And when you do that, I mean, like you said, it's not sustainable. You are going to go back and eat your roti and your bread and your rice
yeah,
at some point after the diet.
Yeah.
And your body doesn't know how to hold it,
Yeah.
or like change it to energy anymore,
right,
because it's not used to it.
yeah,
And what it does is it stores it.
right.
And that's how you now double in weight, or you gain more weight than you were before.
So that's exactly what happened, right?
Yeah.
Now, no doubt I lost, okay? Because, and then the science behind it, you're losing a lot of water weight,
Yeah.
the glycogen and everything, so your water stores get depleted. I did the keto essentially, so it was almost no carb, higher fat, higher protein. One roti later, and boom, this thing was back with a vengeance. And I think I actually regressed because I felt like I lost muscle.
Yeah.
So although on the scale it goes down, but you lose muscle and you lose fat. And then when you regain fat, you don't regain that muscle.
No, not with it.
So you're actually worse off.
Yeah, than what you were
Than you
actually
before.
That's actually true, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not the only one, Molana. Like, I've had other people come up to me and say the same thing. Like, in my first month of short slim or whatever it was, like a no carb diet, I lost 8 kg. And naturally, you're gonna be happy about all that, you see. But down the line, it's not gonna look good.
Right.
You're gonna gain it back. You have to have all your macros. So you have to have your protein, you have to have your fat, you have to have your carbs, but in controlled portions. That's the whole thing with the diet, is everything you do in moderation. Have it, but control it. So if you want to lose weight, if you're to maintain your calories at the moment,
Right.
to maintain your body weight, say it's 2,000 calories, and you have to drop 500 calories to go into a deficit to start losing weight. Do it, but put everything in that plan. And I actually have one of my clients right now that is on a calorie deficit, trying
Right.
to lose weight and trying to lose weight drastically in the next 5 weeks. But
Okay.
even then, I had to explain to say that I'm going to still add that carb in your diet, because I don't want you to lose all this weight and then come back and then say, hey, I put it back on again.
Right. Right. So that was actually my next question. So, the person at home, or whoever they are, and we'll talk about different scenarios, but first one, say they want to lose fat, right?
Yeah.
And we have to make that distinction. Losing weight is not necessarily a good thing. You want to lose fat, right? You don't want to lose lean muscle,
No.
right? And because that's going to help you in the long run with your skeletal system and etc., right? So a person comes up to you and they say, hey, I want to drop 10 kg of fat, okay? Where would you start them off?
Okay, so what we usually do is, actually anyone can actually do it, if they really wanted to. It's a very simple formula. you just need to know what your daily calorie intake is at the moment to maintain the weight you're at.
Right.
Right? And how you do that is there are a lot of apps right now out there that will calculate it for you. But if you want a rough estimation, you take your weight in pounds.
Right.
And you multiply it by 15.
Okay.
So if you're if you're a 65 kg guy, which is probably around 150 somewhere there pounds, multiply that by 15, and you'll get around 2,200 calories, maybe, say that much. And that's what you need to be taking every day to maintain your weight. Now, the thing is, you want to reduce that weight.
Right.
So the healthy recommended amount to lose in a week is around a pound, which is I think 0.45 kg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to lose that, you have to reduce that amount, right? So it was 2,200 by 500 calories a day.
Right.
So now start eating 2,700 or 800 calories. 1,700 calories a day.
Right.
Subtract it, you know.
Right.
And that will allow you to start losing that 1 kg a week.
Right.
You know? But eat everything. That's the main thing here. That's how it's going to take time.
Right.
There's no shortcut to this, and it's, you know, I like describing it as like you're actually read it somewhere, and it made a lot of sense to me. You're a glass of water. Think of yourself as a glass of water, full glass of water, and you're training and you have a diet every day, single day. And that's equivalent to you taking out a teaspoon from that glass of water and throwing it on the side. You take out 1 teaspoon, the next day you train and you go through your diet, you take out another teaspoon, you still won't see a difference in that glass, it still looks full. Only down the line, as you keep doing it every day, say 3, 5, 6 months down the line, then it becomes half full. That's when you see the changes in your body.
Right.
And that's how it takes time,
right,
to see the changes in your body.
Yeah.
It does.
Right. And so, okay, calories. There are some that are sneakier than others. Are there any particular foods? Now we have different cultures with different cuisines. We got, the local Zambian cuisine. We have the Indian cuisine, the Lebanese cuisine. Is there any particular food group or type of foods that are just sneaky in terms of calories that make it add up quickly?
Food groups, I basically say for the Indians, it's mainly our oily foods.
Okay,
yeah,
so the fat.
I just said the fat, the way we're going to cook it.
Right.
Yeah, I still say like the 3 main categories like that give you that belly that a lot of people don't want.
The pouch, yeah.
Yeah, the pouch is your sugars,
right,
your oil, and your flour.
Oh, okay.
And we have a problem with
all 3.
All 3 basically, yeah,
yeah.
Especially the oil.
Yeah.
So you need to cut down on this. As you can do sit-ups every day. Literally every day for like 30 minutes, and you still won't see that pouch go until you control the diet.
Right.
And there's that misconception that if I do sit-ups, I'll lose my
spot reduction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
down there, but it doesn't work that way. That's all your food, right? That's
right,
what you're putting in your body.
Right.
Right. It will only start going down once you start controlling that. The only thing that sit-ups do is strengthen your core.
Right.
You'll still have that belly, but with a stronger core.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, the sugars. So interesting story. When I was in university, I used to, I rented a flat, and actually it was a building where doctors would come and stay temporarily, and also patients, right? Because the university had a department where they would do special surgeries.
Yeah.
So it was communal. So we had a communal kitchen, and I was like a long-term, resident there. So I used to always meet people in the kitchen, and my question would be like, "What are you here for?" Right? Like usually the patients. So we had this guy, and he's like, "I'm here. I had a new ticker," right? Meaning he had a heart transplant. And I'm looking down, and I'm like, "Seriously, you got a new heart?" He's like, "Yeah, heart transplant." And I'm like, "You're eating steak, and it was cheese and steak, right?" And I'm like, "Are you sure you can be eating like that?" And he said, "Yeah, doctors are okay with that." He's like, "But it's the sugar." He's like, the sugar is what actually just
killing you, right?
It's killing you. Yeah. So I definitely agree, and I think irrespective of whatever culture you come from, the processed foods and the sugary foods,
you have to cut out.
Yeah.
You have to cut it out, like completely.
Yeah. Fizzy drinks.
I still remember, like in my first week in Manchester when I was doing the course, I put on weight around my face.
Ah,
And I didn't know why. I was so confused because I've never had that before. So
Yeah.
like I checked what I was eating and the milk. I was buying full cream milk over there.
Wow.
In the blue container.
yeah.
And as soon as I quit that and went to the semi-skim, it all dropped. like,
Wow.
in 2 weeks, you know.
Really?
So yeah, food plays a big role.
Wow,
in all of
subhanAllah.
it. Yeah.
Interesting. And now the opposite, people who who are extremely thin, and just for the record, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But some people want to pack on muscle, right? And when we talk about from the Islamic perspective, we have to make things clear. Irrespective of who an individual is, showing off is not the objective, and that's when it crosses the border. If you're there to IG, to show off your abs and start flexing your biceps and whatnot, then it's crossing the line. The idea is to lead a healthy lifestyle and to be a confident individual. So an individual who wants to build muscle, is it the diet the exact opposite rather than subtract? Is it
you're gonna go into a calorie surplus then,
Right.
instead of a deficit. So you're gonna add now 500 maybe calories a day to your calorie count.
Okay.
Okay, and that's what's it's gonna make you gain a kg a week.
Okay.
But that's on the healthy side. If you want to do more than that, you can go 1,000 calories more, like add on 1,000 calories to your calorie plan that you have going on.
Right.
But a healthy plan, and you can go. But they just recommend that you put on a kg a week,
Right.
or reduce if you're gonna come down, like you're gonna lose weight. But for the lighter guys out there, the skinny guys out there, especially mostly our kids.
Right.
Maybe not anymore, but
Yeah.
we have a lot of skinny kids and stuff that want to get into it like I was, and you want to put on this weight. You need to know why you're training and what you're training for.
Right.
You shouldn't just go into a gym and pick up a weight and push that weight and this is how you gain weight,
Yeah.
Because a lot of our kids are upcoming athletes and say they want to become footballers or cricket players and stuff. Your training method is completely different to a bodybuilder in that gym.
Right.
You're not supposed to train like that.
Right.
So you're supposed to use plyometrics, which would be like explosive exercises,
Right.
Jumping and speed, and using weights, obviously.
Right.
Maybe 5 kgs or 10 kgs. You should work with resistance bands rather than dumbbells.
Right.
Or barbells. Why?
Right.
Because like the resistance bands help you stabilize the muscles, which are the ones that basically work in the background. So say you're doing a bench press, for example. You're working on your pecs and your tricep.
Right.
Right? But you have your core, you have your legs, and you have your back that are working in the background isometrically, like holding it in place. So that's what the resistance band is for. It actually works on those muscles.
Right.
Which prevents injury, and that's what a lot of us lack, is that we don't work on these smaller muscle groups, and we don't target them, and then we always say we got a knee injury, meniscus, ACL, all that. We had ankle problems because we're not working on the joints associated with these big muscles. We're going in the gym, we're doing biceps, we're doing triceps, we're doing chest, the muscles we know, but you need to target every single muscle.
Right.
And depending on what you're doing, there's a training method for it.
Right. Right.
You need to find that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's give you a scenario. I'm going to give you two. Okay. The first one, you have your average, stay-at-home mom or, not grandmother, but although there is exercise for the elderly as well, but say the average lady at home who can't get to the gym, and again from the Islamic perspective, most of these gyms don't offer. That's one of the reasons I like to train at your place, is that there's it's within the Islamic framework, right? And we have to be realistic about those things. But we'll leave that to the side for a minute. So the average female at home, what can she do to stay fit?
Yeah, there's actually a lot they can do. Like, especially if you're basically around your maybe early 40s or mid 50s, like the best thing you can do is walk.
Okay.
Up and down in your yard.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of people have ample space, even if it's like a 10 by 10. Walk up and down.
Right.
And walk for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You're going to burn 90 to 100 calories right there.
Right.
Just walking for 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
If you feel like you want to keep the same time and not up the resistance, put a weighted vest on,
Right.
a 5 kg vest or a 2.5 kg vest,
Right.
and walk with that. You're going to burn a whole lot more calories.
Or put on like I guess like even a backpack or rucksack.
Backpack, exactly,
Put some books in there or
Yeah,
something.
if you're not going to get the weighted vest, and there's that you can do for 30 minutes, and then for like 20 minutes more, just work on your stretches and do yoga, do Pilates for your core.
Right.
You don't have to do anything hectic or like intense, like HIIT exercises and like jumping. Like it's not going to be good for your knees at that time of your like so, unless you're really fit.
Right.
But like goes like obviously if you have a swimming pool, swim.
Right.
If you don't, but you still can buy a mat.
Right.
Or use the mat in your house and just do a lot of body weight exercises.
Right.
Yeah, like look into yoga, stretches. It's all very functional. Pilates is very functional, and it will help you in your day to day.
Right.
Yeah, I actually have an older, in his mid 50s, that I'm training, one of my clients, and up to 2 years ago, he was doing a lot of bodybuilding. And as soon as I started training him, I made it clear that we're changing the entire training system. We're gonna go from heavy weights. We're not doing that anymore. It's like you said, it's not good for your knees anymore and your joints. You're gonna go lighter weight, heavy on the reps, so you improve your strength. And he just went last year to get a checkup done in SA. And they actually told him to say that your blood pressure and your cholesterol has dropped. So even for these ladies, for the older men out there, you have to keep active.
Right.
It helps.
Right.
It helps, like keep everything at bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. So yeah, walking, stretching is something we always neglected, and I know this is going to come up. A lot of times people use this term yoga for everything, but I'm just going to clarify something for the viewers. You're allowed to stretch. There's different variations of stretching. Sometimes people use the term yoga generally.
There's two parts to it. There's the
religious side, So it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
And in fact, just be cognizant of that that you don't get into the religious, but you can stretch, right?
Yeah.
There lot of active and passive stretches
within yoga that actually are very good stretches.
Yeah, so stretching, exactly. But just be aware that there is a religious aspect which is not allowed in the deen.
Yeah.
For example, like the sun salutations or thing that has to do. Yeah. So just keeping that. Okay, now for the newbie, right? Guy's 15 years old, 16 years old. He maybe doesn't have the ability to head to the gym. Beautiful. He's learned about calisthenics here. So break it down. Give him a basic program that he can work on from his house.
Yeah. So I'd suggest initially start with a group. Bring your friends in and do it together.
Right.
It helps a lot.
Right.
It does compared to doing it alone, because the main problem we usually have is discipline.
Yes.
And we tend to go in for 1 week, 2 weeks, and we're done.
Yeah.
So get some friends involved. Make it like even if it's 3 times a week. Don't go every day. You don't have to do it every day.
Right.
Start like 3 times a week, but make sure you do it 3 times a week. And if you're at home, going to the gym. Like I said, calisthenics is the best thing you can start off with, especially as a young guy, because now you're strengthening your bones and your muscles. That's what you're getting to. So you have all your upper body movements you can do, the push and pull movements, and you can basically go to lower body on one day.
Right.
And maybe the next day can be a mixture of upper and lower body if you're doing 3 times a week initially.
Yeah, so I was about to ask, how many days a week would you suggest a person?
Initially, when you're starting, just start with 3 days.
3 days a week.
Don't try and overdo it by going 4 or 5 times. I know you want to get the results, but it takes time. So get the routine in first. Make it a lifestyle.
Right.
And then you can start going with 4 or 5 times.
So do you do say 3 days a week? Would it be upper body, lower body rotation, or push pull? Like, would you do? Okay, let's give a practical example. So say Monday. Okay, upper body push-ups. How many sets? How many?
So if you're gonna do say an upper body Monday, and you're going to work on your chest, your shoulders, arms, and maybe core a little.
Yeah.
Or back, the main muscle groups. Say you do push-ups. You can go 3 or 2 push-up exercises for your chest initially. Then you can work on back exercises, so which are your planks and stuff. So with the push-ups, you can go 10 reps. If that's too hard, go 5 reps. And even if you can't do a push-up on your feet, go on your knees.
Yeah, the cheater kind of push-ups. Yeah.
And go through 3-5 reps until you work up to 10.
Right.
And then you start going your 10 by 3 sets. 10 by 3 sets,
Yeah.
of your different variations of push-ups. I love my push-ups.
Yeah.
I'm always doing push-ups.
Right.
Yeah, and on your back you have, you can go for another 2 exercises. So you can do plank exercises, which is good for your lower back.
Right.
Or you can do pull-ups. If it's too hard to do a pull-up, do an assisted pull-up. The
Right.
Australian pull-ups. Like put your feet on the floor and use a bar.
Right.
And pull across.
Yeah.
You have core, which is all your sit-up exercises. Start with 2 of each muscle group.
Right.
Because you're doing your upper body. Then if you go to say Wednesday lower body, you can work on your quads, your hamstrings, your calves,
Right.
all in one day. So you got your squats, you got your lunges. All this is body weight, so you don't need equipment.
Right.
You're just strengthening your muscles.
Right.
Especially for the younger guys.
Yeah.
That's what you need to get into, and then you can add weight to it.
Right.
You got your deadlifts. You can do banded deadlifts,
Right.
Get a resistance band and use that to do a deadlift. It doesn't have to be heavy,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, calf raises on the spot, 50 reps, body weight raises,
Right.
Yeah.
Between
Just
those.
Start, yeah.
Okay, and then so push-ups, right? You by varying your grip. I mean, obviously the best thing. I mean, like yourself, you're a trainer. If somebody was come to you, then they'd get the practical knowledge of how to, which I would suggest, because you can avoid injury. But just to give the users, for an example, doing a push-up, by varying your grip, you're actually working different parts.
Your upper pecs. So depending on the type of push-up you're doing, yeah.
You can like an incliner. Yeah.
So if you're gonna do a wide push-up, basically it's gonna be the outer part of your pecs.
Right.
If you're doing a diamond, you're working the inner part.
Right.
And if you're gonna go on a decline, it's your lower chest.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, And then with the push-ups, and I have a few clients that have come through and they'll go through your push-ups and their wrists start sweating. Have weakness,
Wow, yeah.
So one way to counter that is you get I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but they look like small dip bars,
Yes, yeah. They're the push-up bars. They're the small.
Bars, right?
Yeah.
And you use those to straighten your hands on them and do a push-up with them. It keeps your wrist straight.
Yeah.
And it won't have too much impact on that wrist.
For sure.
Yeah. So you should use those then if you find it really tough.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And they're quite cheap too, I think, to get them.
Yeah. No, they're not expensive at all.
Okay. And then now the other thing is those who are doing it at home. I noticed, like I've seen even guys at the gym, they just kind of just do the movement, right? How would you recommend again, guys, the pacing themselves to actually execute the movement? Is there a difference if by slowing or fast?
It's gonna work better if you go slower, obviously, on your muscle group, right? You shouldn't go fast because your form's probably gonna be off. And that's a bit of an issue for someone starting at home, is that he might be compromising on his form and you won't know.
Right.
Without someone there actually telling him to say that you're doing it wrong. But you can get tips off the internet. And there's so many videos on there that will show you how to do it. And the best way to do it is to maybe, if you're doing a push-up, count 1 second going up and 1 second going down, or maybe even 2 seconds. Do it as slow as possible so you keep your form in place.
Right.
The slower the better.
Right.
With most exercises, unless it's, like I said, explosive exercises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you're putting on weight, you're trying to increase your strength, do it all slowly, do it perfectly, try and get the best form out of it. Because a lot of these exercises, if you do it wrong, you're going to injure yourself.
Yeah.
Like on a squat, for example. And
yes.
I only learned this recently, actually, that if you do a squat and your knees are straight, it's bad for your knees. And if your feet are facing forward.
Right.
Actually, this is supposed to be
outwards.
and your knee is supposed to point to your second toe.
Right.
And this, a client told me about it.
Right.
I actually searched it up.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I also have to I have to switch that up.
Right.
So you have to do everything properly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it makes a lot of sense. And, again, I heard within the Muslim community criticism about working out or lifting weights, and I want to reiterate: look, if you're doing body weight squats, even your salah improves, because just getting up from sajda, it makes a difference, because your knees aren't in sore. And I have knee issues. I go for cupping, which has made a difference, but I notice the squats, right? Just practicing on form, not going so heavy that you're putting unnecessary pressure on your spine, body weight even makes a difference in salah. Like, your knees feel better, your legs feel stronger, because you're practicing that movement.
Yeah, actually, that just reminds me. Same client that I have that's in his mid-50s, he actually came to tell me to say, like, all these endurance-based push-up and squatting exercises and all this that you mentioned have actually helped him sit longer in bayans in the masjid.
Oh, subhanallah.
Yeah,
there you
that's
go.
what he said. He said, like, I can sit for an hour and a half, and my back won't give issues anymore.
Subhanallah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, you work on your stretches, you work on these body weight movement exercises. It helps.
Yes.
It helps with your joints. It helps with the muscles connecting, the ligaments, all that connected to those muscles, and it keeps you stronger throughout the day. That's what you should be working towards, to be a more functional in your day-to-day life.
Right.
And that's the only reason I prefer those kind of exercises to bodybuilding.
Right. Yes, it's practical.
It's more practical.
Yeah. So last but not least, and we'll end on this one here, is a lot of soccer, right? Football. Forgive me, football, right? If someone wants to improve their endurance, right, or they want to improve their ability, anything specific that you'd recommend for people who to be able to improve? Because again, the football, although it is a game and whatnot, it is a good way to increase cardiovascular endurance, right? So
exercise-wise, you have to work on your cardiovascular fitness.
Right.
That's a no-brainer there, because you have to be fit to last 90 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing you need to go through is a lot of boot camp drills.
Right.
And circuit drills.
So it's one after another.
Right. And you should be going into, like, your push-ups, into, like, suicide runs, like up and down, and next thing you know, you're doing dips, and then you're doing jumping jacks on the spot, like, which is good for your high-intensity cardiovascular fitness.
Right.
Just to get there.
Right.
Include the battle rope. This is part of, like, your circuit. Like, it's very good for endurance and strength.
Right.
Like, I just recently got the rope.
Okay.
And, a lot of the clients will go 1 minute on it, and your hands are locked.
Feel it.
After a while, you feel it through your bicep everywhere, and it's all good for the smaller muscle fibers, and that's what you need. You need the fast twitch muscles to work in sport.
Right.
And that's what you need to target. So a lot of these exercises are actually very good for it. Like flip a tire, use the sledgehammer on the tire. I know you love the sledgehammer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there are so many exercises you can use. Plyometrics, body weight circuits,
Yeah.
Don't just think, and that's the main thing I want to point out here, is don't just think you need to go to a gym and bench press.
Right.
That's going to get you there. No, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
You have to work according to, even if you're playing golf.
Right.
I know I have quite a few clients that come and say, I want to improve my golf. So we're working on the muscle groups that target golf. So it's going to target basically to play to better your swing.
Right.
You have your chest, your legs, and your waist.
Right.
Your hips involved.
Right.
All this, and there's a lot of functional movements involved. So you're going to use a medicine ball or a slam ball, and you're going to do squatting with say a overhead press and twist.
Right.
To get it involved. There's so many exercises you can use, but specific to what you need.
Right.
For that sport.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. Alhamdulillah. Well, on that note, Jazakallah khairan, the time flew. It's always interesting to hear about these things. I'd love to get you back inshallah in the next, we only have 100 days for Ramadan. And if you could prepare something for us, a lot of times we end up sabotaging Ramadan with those evening snacks. So, if we could have you on inshallah before then, and we can do a discussion about some suggestions on how to make the most of it.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. All right, Jazakallah. Appreciate you coming to see us and visit us, and I hope that we can do this again.
Inshallah.
All right, Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.